Oh, those conspiracy theorists, always saying that artificial intelligence is gonna take all of our jobs. How they're overreacting. Chicken Little, sky is falling. They're just afraid of technology. Well, it turns out, yeah, that's happening. AI is taking our jobs. In fact, IBM is talking about fairly significant layoffs of thousands of employees as they quote, let me get the quote right here, upskill their employees on AI. In case anyone's wondering, upskill is now my least favorite word in the English language, and I do not believe it's actually a word. That whoever first used the word, I'm going to upskill you, needs to get upskilled themselves and go upskill themselves off a cliff, because that's friggin' annoying. Don't talk like that. So, but IBM has announced that no, let me take that back. IBM has announced internally that they are going to be slashing a bunch of jobs this time around in their marketing and communications division. And the last couple of layoffs have been kind of more widespread, but these ones are going to be focused on marketing and communications professionals. I'm going to read a little bit of a quote here from CNBC because they did a good little short piece on this from last week. IBM on Tuesday told employees in its marketing and communications division that it's slashing the size of its staff, according to a person with knowledge on the matter. Jonathan Adishak, IBM's chief communications officer, made the announcement in a roughly 7-minute meeting with staffers in the unit, said the person who asked to not to be named because the news hasn't been made public. I should point out, I've been trying over the last couple of days to get some more additional information around this. I have failed spectacularly. I have, however, confirmed what CNBC is reporting here is in fact true. I have confirmed that, yes, these details were stated. I was hoping to get like video clips or something like that. I've had some great luck with leaks coming out of IBM and Red Hat over the past couple of months, and I was really hoping to get those video clips, but I don't have the clips of it, but I have gotten independent confirmation from an additional source that says that, yes, this is happening. In December, IBM CEO Arvind Krishna told CNBC that the company was, quote, massively upskilling all of our employees on AI. I hate that sentence. I hate that sentence so much. I hate several of the words in that sentence. I hate the words are combined together. I hate all of it. It's all a big ball of hatred for me. After it announced a plan in August to replace nearly 8,000 jobs with AI. Repeat, replace nearly 8,000 jobs. Now, when you were talking replacing a job, that's replacing a person. That head count is now gone. Those are 8,000 people that get laid off that do not have a job anymore because other people got upskilled on AI. IBM said on its earnings call in January of last year that it was cutting 3,900 positions. In Q4 earnings earlier this year, IBM disclosed a workforce rebalancing charge that would represent a very low single-digit percentage of IBM's global workforce. And we expect to exit 2024 at roughly the same level of employment as we entered with. That means that they're adding some other people in different areas, laying some other people off. Overall, they are going to be net down because they are laying off a significant amount of people as they upskill other employees on artificial intelligence. Now, there's a few things here. First, this is yet another example of companies getting rid of people and then having the remaining staff be upskilled on ChatGPT or whatever AI technology or chatbot they're using in order to try and fill that void, right? Hopefully their employees, that the idea is that their employees will be more productive using AI, and so therefore they'll need less employees. Whether you think that's good or not, I think it's important to recognize that it's happening. And this is happening across industries right now. From my line of work in tech journalism and journalism in general, we're seeing a huge explosion in publications, online publications especially, moving towards AI generated content. CNET is famous for this because they canned a bunch of writers in favor of AI and started publishing a bunch of AI content. Sports Illustrated started publishing huge quantities of AI content. I mean, it's tech publications and news publications and sports publications just churning out automatically generated AI created articles one after the other. And what's happening in these tech publications, and many of your favorite tech news sites are now doing this. I've talked to many of the individuals running these sites, fairly small community. A lot of us talk, even the ones that don't like each other. And what's happening is they're letting a lot of their writers go. The total number of writers is being reduced. The total number of journalists is being reduced. And the ones that are around, by and large, they're hoping to pay less. Then what they're doing is they're redefining what the role editor is. Now, up until fairly recently, if you were an editor of a technology magazine, your role really was pretty broad and very important and very senior. You were coming up with general consistency, writing, and style guidelines. You were indeed helping to edit some of the articles, but well beyond that, you were helping come up with content and making sure that the whole article, the whole issue that you published, if you had a magazine, made sense, that the articles that you put out were both grammatically, stylistically, and technically correct. Those editor positions were very senior. I used to be an editor at magazines. I mean, it's not a junior level position. Nowadays, what many outlets are doing, not all, but many, are making the editor position a entry-level position. Not just junior level, but like fresh out of school, never had a job before, you're now an editor for a tech publication. And what does the editor do? Well, the editor works with the chatbots, the AI chatbots. Someone tells them, we need to create these contents, these pieces of content that use these keywords, or articles based on these press releases or marketing materials from the companies that advertise with us. Use the chatbot to create the article, and then the editor formats the article, checks it for obvious grammatical issues, and then uses the text that the chatbot created to feed in those words into an image generator, an AI image generator, to create headline images and logos and whatnot for the article, and then publish it and then promote it on social media. That's now what the editor position does. And they are incredibly low paid positions, and they're just about upskilling the AI. And it's absolutely horrendous. Some of the publications that I used to read regularly are now more than 50% this. That number is growing, and it's going to continue to grow. I'm going to repeat something I've said before. The Lunduke Journal does not now and will not ever use artificial intelligence in the creation of articles. We don't use it for writing the articles, for creating the images around the articles, for doing the data analysis of the articles or the research of the articles. Old-fashioned, handcrafted, artisanal journalism here, folks. So this now we have news from IBM that we have thousands and thousands of employees that are about to lose their jobs to AI upskilling. And I want to take a moment to look at the tech industry layoffs to date, because according to layoffs.fyi, so far this year, we've had 209 tech companies have a series of layoffs. Of the companies that have reported numbers, 50,312 employees have been laid off. Now, why do I say have reported numbers? Well, what's great about layoffs.fyi, the guy who created it has done a fantastic job, is it literally creates for us a spreadsheet with the article showing the source, right? And the date the layoff happened and the number of people that are reported to be laid off. Okay, that's great. Well, currently it says, look up the top here, 50,000 employees laid off so far this year. Well, we just learned that we know that there are thousands and thousands of employees about to be laid off from IBM. Okay, so is that represented here? It is. Scroll down here, boom, IBM. They announced that. There we go. That same article that I talked about, it links to there. How many people are reported to be laid off? Well, it's not known for sure, so at this point, none are listed. But it will be in the thousands. And as you scroll through this list, look how many we simply don't know about. All those blank fields where it says number laid off and it's just blank, those are just unknowns. Maybe they're big numbers, maybe it's just a couple numbers, but it's layoffs and it's significant, which means that this number at the top here, this 50,000 number, is really low compared to what the actual number is. Now, and if we look at, say, the previous year, 2023 had 263,000 layoffs among tech companies in the year. That was a record-shattering year. It was off the charts. There had never been a year anywhere even close to this, including the dot-com bubble bursting. This is off the charts. Now, let's do the math here for a second. 50,000 people so far. That means that at the current average, right? We're not done with Q1 yet. The current average, we will be at roughly 232,000 people laid off by the end of the year if the average we've seen so far over the last 2.5 months holds true for the rest of the year. Now, will that happen? Unknown. It is absolutely unknown. It is impossible to know. And I want to show you guys something here because this is really important. When you look at this graph here, you notice how there are definite huge peaks. Look at January of 2023. That's that huge spike right in the middle there. That was an absolutely devastating month for layoffs in the tech industry. We saw layoffs from IBM and Microsoft and Amazon. It was a huge layoffs month. Well over 75,000 layoffs in a single month. Now, the rest of the year was not that bad. Now, many people will be like, well, we've passed the January spike, so therefore it's all downhill from there. Well, if you look back over the last several years, there is no January spike. That's not a thing that happens every year. That just isn't a thing. In fact, look at right here on this chart and 2022, that bar all the way on the left, the smallest month listed in the last 2+ years is January of 2022. There is no reason, zero pattern, zero reason to believe that January will be the biggest month of the year. Last year that was true. That was the only year that it was true. So what will happen this year? Absolute unknown. In 2022, the year before last year, November was the biggest year by a lot. I mean, it was huge, well over 50,000 layoffs in November of the previous of 2022. So we don't really know. If I tried to tell you what I thought was going to happen, I would be guessing. As we break it down by quarter, what we do see is that Q1 of 2024 is significantly higher than Q3 of 2022. And in fact, Q1 of 2024 is higher than any month of last year other than Q1, of any quarter other than Q1. Right? That January of last year, yeah, that was brutal. That sent off a spike. But so far, as averaged out, this quarter, which is not over yet, I mean, we're getting closer, but it's not over yet, is the worst quarter we've seen in the last year. This is pretty intense. No, I'm not here to doom and gloom and naysay. When I made my predictions for this year, I predicted that it would be a little bit less than 2023 in terms of total numbers of layoffs. I'm starting to revise those predictions a little bit. I'm starting to wonder if we're going to see more layoffs in 2024 than we did in 2023. I think I might have been a little bit conservative on those estimates. I think we're off to a very, very strong start. If we have another month like January of last year, but we have it this year, well, we're gonna probably blow way past last year's numbers, which means this year will be another record-setting year for layoffs, which is hard. I mean, that's really, really hard. Some corrections need to happen, but that is really, really hard. And what's concerning to me is when I see companies like IBM and others who are not just doing corrections because they overhired in departments that perhaps they overhired in, but they're saying that we're going to reduce our staff and pivot to artificial intelligence because honestly, I believe that that is ultimately a folly because they are ultimately going to have significant new problems the more reliant on AI technology they get because they have less actual human oversight. And I think there's a lot of problems that get cropped up when you start relying on AI for your actual business. We're talking about marketing and communications professionals being gotten rid of, which means copywriters, which means marketing people, which means people putting out press releases, putting together documentation, all sorts of stuff. Oh boy, I foresee issues that they'll just simply need to rehire again in the future. So it feels like they're putting themselves, their shareholders, their customers, and their employees through a great deal of turmoil for no real clear benefit. And that is deeply disturbing. I'm going to briefly mention some of the political things that are going on. I try and avoid the pure politics here at the Lunduke Journal at lunduke.locals.com. But over on the political side of the Lunduke Journal, conservativenerds.locals.com, we've published a large number of leaks and analysis of those leaks, exclusive leaks just to the Lunduke Journal from IBM and Red Hat, especially this last December. And those leaks were intense. Those leaks do have significant consequences in multiple ways. When we're talking about hiring, firing, employee retention, layoffs, everything, they're going to what happened with those leaks and the policies that were unveiled with those leaks are going to impact how these layoffs proceed. Because IBM opened themselves to really significant legal liability because they had large programs where, for example, executive staff, so, C-level executives, their compensation, their financial compensation was directly tied to the skin color of the people they hired. If they hired less white people, they got paid more. That is illegal. That is, like, federally, that is a really significant crime. And being as they have very significant amounts of evidence now that's out there in the public about those programs being in place, and you can go read all up on these. I would be very surprised if we exit the current year, 2024, without a very large amount of fallout from this. Right now, the CEO of IBM is still in place. Arvind Krishna is still at the head of IBM. I do not believe he will be come the end of this year. And that's not saying I want him to resign or get fired or anything like that. That's simply saying I don't think he'll be in the role. I just logistically, there's so many things going on, so many legal issues, so many employee morale issues, so many recruiting issues. There's just problems galore that come up because of this, because of the push towards AI upskilling, because of the general corrections that are occurring within large tech organizations like IBM because of the massive amount of realistically overhiring that they did over the previous few years. That's a lot of turmoil. That's a lot of turmoil for any organizations to have to deal with all at once. And I don't see IBM leaving this year without significant changes in their top level and medium level leadership. And that includes the CEO. The CEO and the majority of their C-level executives. I don't see how all of them stay on board through the end of this calendar year. I just don't. I would expect significant announcements in the days, weeks, months, and quarters ahead on all of that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this round of, oh my gosh, the conspiracy theorists about AI were right. I'm your host, Brian Lunduke. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerds and nerdettes across the inner tube, I do declare, end broadcast.